Welcome today to everyone that's joining us for the third functional overview, Managing Your Job Applications in Workday. We're going to get started in a few minutes. Folks are still filing into the webinar, and we'll give it another minute or two and we'll start right on time. For those of you that are just joining us, we'll be starting shortly. You're attending the functional overview. It's our April functional overview on managing your job applications in Workday. So thank you for joining us. Okay, on my clock, I want to get started on time and respect everyone's commitments and time for this morning. So we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome to the functional overview, the April functional overview, Managing Your Job Applications in Workday. If you're new joining us today, there's a few housekeeping items I want to go through. First, we have enabled the live transcript. This is an option if you would like to turn that on or off. You can follow the directions on the screen and it's part of your Zoom controls. The second item is we are recording today's session and we will be posting it on the Elevate website. The recording will be made available in a few days, and as a registered attendee, you will receive an email notification when that video has been posted. And lastly, we have turned off the chat feature, but we have enabled the Q&A feature. And we encourage you throughout the presentation to submit your questions through the Q&A. And with that, we'll go ahead and get started. So again, welcome everyone to the Managing Your Job Applications in Workday. We're excited to have you with us today. We're supported today by myself. My name is Gay Bugenhagen. I'm the change management lead on the Elevate program. We also have Lee Ellis helping us in the background. She is our readiness and training lead, and she's going to be helping with the questions. Karen Dieso, if you've attended one, she's our communications lead and she helps moderate our questions. You'll see her later on in the presentation as we move to the Q&A portion of the day. And last but not least, we have Autumn Stazuli, and she is our recruiting lead today. And this is a topic that's near and dear to her. She joined our team from the College Park UHR organization. And if you received the Elevator newsletter, she was also our featured employee spotlight of the month. So if you want to learn more about Autumn and who she is and what she likes to do, check her out in the Elevator newsletter. Oops, sorry, I think I skipped. So sorry about that. So real quick, if you are new to joining us in functional overviews, I want to give a brief level set on what they are. These are a monthly demonstration that will give you an opportunity to see some of the key features in Workday. We plan these functional overviews with everyone in mind. We want to make sure that this is for general audiences. We want everyone to partake of this opportunity to learn more about Workday. The sessions are planned through early 2023. We had our first one in February of this year, and we have a range of topics that will go through early 2023. We try to keep these sessions to less than an hour. Our target is 45 minutes because we know that you guys have other commitments probably at the top of the hour, and we want to make sure that you have an opportunity to be on time for your next meeting or your next activity. These are also, they're optional. We love having you guys. In the sessions we've had so far, there's been over 1,000 people that have participated, but these are optional sessions to raise your awareness. And we hope that some of the stuff that you see today will make you excited about the Workday implementation. And the last point about functional overviews is these are not intended to be formal training. It's just a preview of the system. The formal training will be available in the spring of 23. So with that, let's just talk through the agenda real quick. We have a lot of stuff packed into today's session. We're going to talk a little bit about what you need to know for recruiting, also what some of the benefits of that are going to be. And Autumn will also be giving some information on internal and external career sites. There will also be a demo for how you can search and apply for a job as a current employee using the Workday's internal job site. Next up, we'll talk about it from the other side of what are the primary roles that are going to be involved when you recruit, and what are some of those key considerations. We'll have our second demo of the day, and that will be looking at it from the job requisition side of the house, or that workspace. And lastly, Autumn will be talking about search committees and their role in this process. And as with all of our other functional overviews, we do allow time at the end to do question and answers, and we'll also give you some resources of how you can learn more about Workday. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Autumn.
Thanks, Gay. And again, thank you to everyone who has joined. I'm Autumn, and I'm here to talk to you today about recruiting. Recruiting, more specifically, Workday Recruit to Hire, involves a multitude of business processes, from reviewing applications to generating an offer letter. So we wanted to share this visual with you as it shows clearly the candidate life cycle throughout recruiting. So before a candidate submits their application, they're referred to as a prospect. Once they have submitted the application, they become an active candidate that may transition between various stages as shown in this visual. And once we get to the offer or employment agreement stage, the candidate becomes a pre-hire and then finally a worker once they are hired. So for those that are involved in recruiting, you'll see more of this in Workday training come next year. But for this functional overview, we really wanted to focus on what our general audience needs to know about Workday recruiting. So what exactly do you need to know about Workday recruiting? Well, one of the most important items, as I'm sure you've heard, is that UMCP, UMES, UMCs, and USMO are consolidating to one system. That is Workday, meaning current recruitment practices and systems across the 4 companies like eTERP, People Admin, and other paper-based methods will be retired. Additionally, all recruiting processes like creating jobs, posting positions, and managing candidates will be housed in Workday, allowing for a seamless transition between recruiting processes. So now let's talk about what this means for you. So for you, as someone who will be a worker within Workday, you can use the internal career site to search for jobs and submit applications for internal jobs across any of the Elevate partner entities. Now, you may also have a friend, family member, or coworker, or former coworker, excuse me, outside of UMCP, UMCs, UMES, or USMO that is interested in working for one of these institutions. You can direct them to the campus-specific career site where they can apply. Additionally, you can even use Workday to refer them to a job. Now, there are a lot of people on the call, so I have to assume that there are some search chairs, hiring managers, and other people involved in the recruitment process. So with that being said, you will complete all of your recruiting processes in Workday. This includes screening applications, managing interviews, conducting reference checks, and also generating offer letters. All right, so now let's talk about some of the benefits for recruiting using Workday. The first is that all candidate information is housed in the same system. This means that there will no longer be eTERP, people admin, or other paper-based recruiting methods. Secondly, departments will no longer have to enter data into multiple systems. This is a huge win since a single system results in more accurate data and reduces the risk of human error. Another benefit is that Workday's automatic notification and internal comment capabilities will reduce the need to send emails back and forth. In fact, you'll also have an archive of all activities and communications. Additionally, Workday offers a quick internal application process. So if we have the following scenario, where if we have a worker within the Workday system, they'll begin their application, key data is actually going to be pulled from their worker profile directly into the application, meaning less work completing your application. So this is definitely a big win for a lot of people. They won't have to retype their education or experience. It's going to be pulled from their worker profile. Likewise, if a family or friend wants to apply for additional jobs months after already applying for an on-campus job at one of the Elevate entities, then they can log into their Workday candidate account and then just apply for new jobs using their last application submitted. So these changes will make the application process much more efficient for both prospective applicants and hiring departments. All right, so anyone who has applied for a job has more than likely visited a career site. For most institutions, there are two types of career sites, internal and external. The internal site is where our internal workers apply for internal jobs. Our internal site will be shared across all institutions and is accessed by logging into Workday. You can filter for open jobs within your institution or other institutions available to current employees. Once you begin your application, key data from your worker profile within Workday is going to pull directly into the application. And for the external site, this is where external applicants or non-employees apply for jobs. This means that jobs appearing on these external career sites are not limited to workers across the ERP Elevate institutions. So now I'm sure many of you are wondering, well, what exactly does the external career site look like for my institution? All right, so as a sneak peek, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the external career site mockups. We have UMC's here, just reading from left to right. We have the UMC's external career site followed by UMCP. And then in the upper right-hand corner, we have UMES followed by USML. And as you can see from each of these external career sites, all of them have unique branding, the institution's colors, we have their logo, and then also a few images for some of these sites. So for external applicants, the branding makes it clear which institution they're applying to. Okay, so when a candidate applies for a job, they are prompted to create a Workday job account. This candidate home will display applications in progress, those that have been submitted, ending pending task like reviewing an offer letter or signing an offer letter, and also permits candidates to change account settings. Each applicant that applies for a job at any of the ERP Elevate institutions will be prompted to create a Workday job account. So now that we've shown what the external career site looks like, let's take a deeper dive into the internal career site. Okay, so for the first demonstration, we want to show you how to use Workday as a current employee to search and apply for internal jobs. So to search for jobs, you'll enter Find Jobs in the search bar, and you'll notice here that it says Report, But you can see in the second screenshot that this isn't a report in the traditional sense. This is actually our internal career site. So once you've gone ahead and searched for find jobs, you can use the search and filter criteria to search for jobs. When you click on a job hyperlink, you're then going to be taken to the job description. You'll review the job description and then click apply. So now let's go ahead and let's jump to the demo.
Let's search and apply for a job using the internal career site. 2 notes before we get started. First, the internal site is shared across all institutions: UMCP, UMES, UMCS, and USMO. And second, the internal site is accessed by logging in to Workday. That makes it easy. In this demonstration, I will be logging in as a current employee, Evan employee, in a Workday training environment. Evan wants to see what jobs are open internally. Let's get them started by entering Find Jobs in the search bar. And here we are on the internal career site. Let's walk through the page together. On the top, we have a search bar that you can use to search by keywords to narrow search results that display below. You can see that all results display with the job title, job requisition ID, posting date, and location. You'll notice that jobs for all entities display, not just your own institution. If you're looking for open jobs within your own institution, you can use the filtering options. The filtering options are available on the left panel. You can filter by distance, whether the job is full or part-time. In addition, you can filter by job category, job family, and job profile. We also have filtering options by organization, primary location, and worker type. You'd want to use primary location to filter by institution. Evan is looking for a particular job with UMES, so he'll filter it just to show UMES results. Evan has their heart set on the IT coordinator help desk position, so let's click on that hyperlink. We're taken to the View Job Posting Details page. Here, we can read more about the job in the job description and the job details. You can either apply or refer. Let's click Apply. What's nice about applying to an internal job via Workday is that your work experience and education information auto-populates. This information includes your job history, education, certifications, languages, and skills. If you don't have this information already in Workday, or you need to make changes, you can click Go to your profile. In the Resume Cover Letter section, you could add your resume or cover letter. If your information is presented above, then you don't need to add a resume. Your info is already there. This last section includes an internal questionnaire. Let me fill the questionnaire out for Evan now. Looks like we finished everything we need to in order to submit the application, so I'll click Submit. You'll see a notification that Workday has successfully completed the process.
You can see on the top right-hand corner the date that Evan applied. If at any time Evan wants to review his applications, they can do so by entering My Applications in the search bar. The My Applications Submitted page displays application information such as the date applied, job title, requisition number, and location. If Evan changes his mind and wishes to withdraw his application, he can enter Withdraw Application in the search bar. Here, they could select the job application and click OK. At this time, Evan doesn't want to withdraw their application. We'll wish them luck in their career search and remind them that they should expect any kind of response related to their application to be delivered in their Workday inbox. You got this, Evan.
So now that we've seen how it looks for when a candidate wants to apply for a job, I'm sure many of you were asking, well, what does Workday look like for those of us that are involved in the recruiting process? Well, the first thing that we'll want to discuss are the roles involved in the recruit to hire process. More specifically, who was responsible for managing and transitioning candidates. The first role that we have is the primary recruiter. This is a role that we do not have in the current state. However, in the current state, this role would be a combination of both the search chair and manager. This person is someone who is responsible for reviewing applications, scheduling interviews, conducting reference checks, and then also generating offer letters if the hiring manager is unable to. Additionally, we have the hiring manager. This is the individual that the candidate would report to based on the organizational chart. Like the primary recruiter, the hiring manager can hold interviews, conduct reference checks, and generate offer letters. And just a note about the hiring manager, more often than not, the manager is going to be the primary recruiter. Now, a third role that we have involved is the central recruiting partner. For employees at UMCP that are involved in the recruiting process currently, this is going to be the equivalent to UHR in the current state. The central recruiting partner is responsible for posting the position to the institution's external career site and also the internal career site, only if requested. And then additionally, this role is responsible for creating the search committee if the position has one. And then our final role that we want to discuss is the search chair. As many of you know, the search chair leads the search committee. They are responsible for screening and interviewing applicants and then making recommendations for further interviews. So now the key to recruiting is the job requisition. Without getting into the weeds, what you need to know is that it will include all relevant information, such as job profile, minimum qualifications, and the job description. Requisitions are used to create the job posting and manage candidates. So what exactly is this process going to look like in the future state? Well, for one, each institution will continue posting their own jobs. Both the hiring manager and primary recruiter can complete the recruit to hire processes. As mentioned previously, reviewing applications, holding interviews, conducting reference checks, and so forth. It's not just limited to one role. And this is beneficial because if the manager is unable to perform time-sensitive tasks, then the primary recruiter can step in to help. Now, as I mentioned on the previous slide, Central HR, now known in the future state as Central Recruiting Partner, will be responsible for assigning search committee members in coordination with the hiring team. And lastly, Workday will have approval processes in place to accommodate any changes with the job requisition. So for instance, If a UMCP department needed to change the job requisition's overall summary in the job, the change could be initiated in the job requisition and then would route for approval. So for the last demonstration, we wanted to show you how to access and navigate the job requisition workspace. This is where you can manage the job requisition and transition candidates throughout the recruiting process. So you'll see here in this visual, the first thing that we'll want to do is to search by the supervisory organization. And then once you have searched for your organization, you'll then select the staffing tab here. And then in our third highlight here, you'll want to go ahead and click on the applicable effective job requisition. You can also use the search bar to search by the job requisition number if you know it. Now in this demo, we will be acting as Martha Manager, who was looking at a different job requisition from the first demo. So don't be confused when you don't see Evan. So now let's go ahead and let's jump to the demo.
In this demonstration, we are logging in as a hiring manager, Martha Manager, in a Workday training environment. Martha wants to see more information about one of her open job requisitions. To do this, she can enter the job requisition number in the search bar. However, what if Martha doesn't know it? Let's help her search for all the job requisitions that are assigned to her as the hiring manager. Let's search by her supervisory organization. As a reminder, a supervisory organization groups workers into a management hierarchy. Workers are hired into jobs or positions associated with a supervisory organization. Martha can now see more information about her supervisory organization. From this page, she'll click the Staffing tab. There's a lot of staffing information on this page, with the first section showing positions with open job requisitions. Martha wants to locate a specific position, the Service Center IT Coordinator job requisition. To do this, we can utilize filtering on the table. Let's filter so we are only viewing job requisitions that have Service Center in the name. To filter for this, we'll click into the Effective Job Requisition column. Next, we'll type Service Center so that we can see Service Center jobs. That narrowed the results significantly. Now that we have isolated the right job requisition, we can access it by clicking the specific effective job requisition hyperlink within the table. We are now in the job requisition workspace. As a reminder, we could have accessed this space directly if Martha had known the job requisition number and entered it via the search bar. But now that we're here, let me walk you through the page. On this page, you can see the recruiting start date, the target hire date, the primary location, the hiring manager, and the recruiter. You can also see at what stage candidates are in the recruiting process. You can visualize this information by viewing the Candidates by Active Stage section. When you click on a stage, you can see percentages on the number of applicants dropped from consideration or who made it to the next stage. You will also see a Candidate Actions button, which will redirect you to the candidate grid to see additional application data. Next to the Candidates by Active Stage section is the Candidates by Source section. Here, you can see how candidates found out about the job requisition. There are a few key tabs here that I want to show you, with the first being Candidates. The candidate grid displays all candidate information, including what stage they are in, the application date, the candidate's current title and company, and the source, or how the candidate learned about the job. From here, you can select candidates to take an action on. You could move forward or decline, send a message to the candidate, or take other action using the Related Actions button. You can also see the Awaiting Me column tells you exactly what is pending your review or action. We can see that Martha has a screening task that is awaiting her action for the candidate named Taylor Time. She can select Screen and either move Taylor forward in the process or disposition them. There are other subtabs besides the Overview subtab to check out. You can click Contact to review candidate contact information, Questions to view the answers to internal or external questionnaires on the job application, Experience to view the candidate's experience, and Resumes to view their resume. This helps you compare candidates within the same Workday page. What I just showed you is the Candidates tab. Let's look at the Details tab next. The Details tab shows all the requisition details and hiring requirements. It's helpful to view this tab because the hiring manager can see the number of job openings for this job requisition, like if the positions are filled, compensation information for the job, and an overview of the business process history. Finally, I want to show you the Job Postings tab. The Job Postings tab is where you can post or unpost a job and view where the position has already been posted. You can take action on a job posting using the Actions button. In this case, when I click the Actions button, I can do things like update the job posting or view the job posting details. Wow, that felt like a lot. Thanks for taking the time to learn more about viewing the job requisition workspace.
Okay, so the last thing that we want to share with you is about search committees. As many of you know, a search committee is comprised of a diverse pool of members that are responsible for screening applications, interviewing, and also identifying finalists for the manager. Within Workday, there are a few important notes to mention about search committees. The first being that search committees must be linked to a job requisition, or else committee members won't be able to see the candidates or the job. Additionally, committees can be connected to more than one job requisition if needed. Secondly, search committee members will have view-only access for reviewing candidates, and it will be limited to the specific job requisition that the committee was linked to. Now, search committee chairs will have expanded access than regular committee members because they can assist the primary recruiter and/or manager with coordination of candidates in the Workday system. meaning they can either move people forward or dismiss. Additionally, external members or outside of Workday can be added to search committees. And just to note, additional information regarding search committees will be discussed in greater detail the closer we get to go live. Now I will hand it back over to Gay.
Great, thank you, Autumn. So how can you learn more about the Elevate program and Workday? My recommendation is that you start on our website. It's elevate.umd.edu, and we curate this continuously. We're updating with as we get new information, but it's a key spot. You can find out about the Elevate program goals, how we got to where we are. You can look at timelines and what we have coming up between now and the go live date of July 2023. We also have a frequently asked questions section. We're using ServiceNow as our portal for this. So with your CAS login, you can submit questions and then they get sent to the appropriate functional team. If you have questions today, they'll probably go to Autumn for her help answering some of the recruiting questions. But that's a great place for you to get your questions or feedback to us. The fourth item here is our Elevator newsletter. We just started doing this on a monthly basis at the start of the year. It comes out on the last Tuesday of the month, and it's a great resource to find out about events like this or other information that we want to share with you. Next up, we have a glossary. We know that there's a lot of new Workday terms that everyone needs to learn, and in our glossary, we try to give a little bit of a crosswalk where you can find out what the Maryland term is today and what the Workday term will be tomorrow, and then a definition of the Workday term. And lastly, our news and events. Anything that we host, such as this or a town hall, will all be under that news and events section of the website. And we'd like to hear from you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for answering our poll. I'm going to let this run for maybe another 30 seconds so we can get some feedback on our session. Thank you so much. All right, coming up on a minute with the poll, so thank you. Go ahead and end it. All right, Gay, you can continue.
Thanks, Karen. So we have a couple minutes left and we want to open the floor to any of your questions that we can answer live. And so I'm going to ask Karen to help us out with this as our moderator.
Yes, we have had a lot of questions come in and our team has been working on the back end to address your questions. But I wanted to pose some to Autumn, who was our resident expert today. We had a few questions come in asking if this would affect the student employee application process. So are student employee positions included in Workday recruitment?
Yes, that is correct. So any student jobs, and this was a recent decision, will be posted using Workday. So additional information regarding student employment application process will be forthcoming.
Great. We also got a few questions about navigation that I think came in during the demo. In the demo, I know that you type in, or Lee, who ran this demo for us in a second, you type in like very specific wording to get to your applications. Are there other ways to get to the application module in Workday besides having to type in a very specific keyword?
That is a great question. First and foremost, we will have a training opportunity just to detail that process a little bit more. But yes, so there is another option that will be available for our recruiters. We have a specific dashboard that a recruiter can select on the Workday homepage that will take them right into the list of their job requisitions. So we can definitely follow up, maybe showing a couple of screenshots of what that process looks like.
Great. We also got a question, I think more than one question in about, asking basically our internal postings for each individual campus available to all University of Maryland College Park, University System of Maryland office, UMES, and UMCs across the board.
Okay, another great question. These are all fantastic questions. So there will be one internal career site that is going to be shared across the 4 institutions involved in this ERP Elevate project. So for searches that are internal to a specific campus, for instance, then that job requisition initiator should specify then in the actual job posting that, hey, this position is only open to current employees at USMO, for instance. But just to address your question a little bit more specifically, if we do have any internal postings out there on the internal career site, those are going to be available for any employee at UMCP, UMES, UMCs, and also the USML to apply for. But as I mentioned, if a campus wants their job to only be open to their own campus employees, then they would just have to specify that within the job posting.
Great. And then on those lines, for the external job site, is it similar where all of the jobs on the external job site span again across University of Maryland College Park, University System of Maryland office, UMES, Eastern Shore, and UMCs as well?
Correct, yes. And so each of those institutions will have their own external career site.
Awesome. I am going to, so that's great. Thank you so much for that. We had some questions come in about the internal job application. And I'm wondering if maybe you could speak to some of the things that get pulled in from your profile into your job application for an internal job.
Sure. So information regarding the workers' education, experience, so their job information, as well as languages and certifications, that's all going to be pulled from the worker profile. So once an internal worker goes into the internal career site to apply for a job, that information is going to appear on their application. And if they need to make any changes, it's very simple to do. They would just go then to their worker profile, go to the appropriate section and update that information, which will then filter back into their application.
Awesome. Thank you. There's actually also another question that came in that might be more tailored to my team. So Gay, if you want to take this one, for internal hiring officials like search chairs, will there be a training manual to help navigate through the hiring process for those folks?
Yes, there will be. There's that. Let me start again. So the formal training will be next spring, and based on the roles that you have or that you will have in Workday, there will be curriculum that you'll be able to see, oh, if I'm going to have this role, these are the trainings that I need to take. There will also be job aids that will be available. Think about a job aid kind of as a 1, 2, maybe 3-page PDF file that gives you step-by-step instructions. In addition, we have within Workday itself, there's also help text available at different portions of Workday. Oh,
Great.
and the last thing for help is Workday also has a chat bot.
Yes, great. Thank you, Gay. I think we have maybe time for just a few more because we are ending at 11:45. So Autumn, a question for you is how long will applications day in Workday, and how often can an applicant update their information?
That is a great question. I'll have to research this one, but I believe applications can stay in the system for about 3 years, but I will follow up on that. And then, I'm sorry, Karen, what was the second part of the question?
Basically asking, once you submit an application, can you update your information on that application?
Good question. So what you would have to do is you would have to actually withdraw your application first, and then go back in and then make an update to it and essentially reapply for the position.
Awesome, thank you. I think maybe we'll do one more and then we can wrap it up. We have a lot of questions that our team has been answering on the back end as well. And if we haven't gotten to your question today, we will follow up with you. So just to reiterate that. But a question that I think is a good one is, would we only get notices in Workday this is for internal applications? If you submit an internal application, would you only get notices in Workday, or would you get an email alert as well with updates on your application?
That is a great question. So employees are actually going to have a setting that will allow them to choose if they want like any Workday notifications or inbox items to also be sent to their work email. But definitely they would receive the notification to their Workday account. But then there is the possibility of changing the settings so that way they also can receive notifications to their email account.
Thank you so much. I think in the interest of time, we will wrap up this live Q&A and we will follow up with everyone else offline. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Karen. Thanks, Autumn. That concludes the portion or the content that we had for today's functional overview. As Karen noted, we've had folks working in the backgrounds answering your questions. And we have, again, the ServiceNow portal. If you have additional questions when you leave the call that you think, oh, I wished I had asked, that's another opportunity. I also want to reiterate that we will be posting a recording of this to the Elevate website. There will be two things. One will be this full webinar will be posted, but then the individual demo. So if you want to just look at the one about the current employee applied, if you want to look at just Evan's portion of the demo, you're welcome to do that. That will be isolated out on the website as well. We also post our videos on our YouTube channel. So if you want to subscribe, that's another way that you can be notified when new videos are posted. And with that, in closing, on behalf of myself, Autumn, Karen, Lee for her great demos, and the entire Elevate program, we want to thank you guys for joining us today. Our next functional overview will be May 26th, and it's on onboarding. So to kind of taking it the next step in the life cycle. So again, thank you for attending, and we look forward to seeing you at a future functional overview. Bye-bye.